Hey, welcome back to Mike's Garage. Today I'm working on the 2001 Mercedes E320 W210 chassis. It's my son's car, and the engine light came on, and getting a crank sensor failure. At this point, it's intermittent. It hasn't caused any starting problems. However, I happen to have the crank sensor from actually last year when the car died, and it turned out to be the fuel pump. It had a lot of the symptoms of a failing crank sensor, where it would just cut out, wouldn't restart, then it would restart after some time. But that was diagnosed down to a failing fuel pump, which on these cars is pretty straightforward to change. It's under the car, it's not in the tank, and it's quite easy to get to. Anyways, since the engine light's on, I have the sensor. I'm just going to put it on. I don't want it to die on him and leave him stranded. So on this particular vehicle, here's the front of the engine, and the sensor is located. Well, once you take the cover off, that would normally sit here. It just pulls off. It is to the back right side of the engine. Sorry, well, back left, depending on how you're looking at it. I'll see if I can get in there. Show the sensor itself. I've already unplugged it. Here is the connector. This side is facing up when you reach down, so just press down on this, lifts this tab up, and that releases the sensor. I believe there are two different sensor types on this car. This is a two-wire one. Now I'll see if I can zoom in and show you where this lives. I just need to focus. Alright, I think it's finally focused now on the sensor itself. You can kind of make out the fastener here for the crank sensor. It's underneath it. I just got a mirror shining in there. But, yeah, you can kind of make it out there. E-Torx, but it's an E8 for the size. You kind of have to do this by feel. Basically, you reach down, get it on there. It shouldn't be too tight. Spin it off, replace the sensor. I'll show the sensor when it comes out. Okay, so reaching down here is not too bad at all. Get my big fat hands in here, so like I said, you got to do a lot of this by feel. Just one bolt. Trick, of course, is to get it out and grab it before it drops into the engine bay abyss. There it is. Yeah, little E8. Put that aside. And in this case, the sensor's coming out pretty easy. So yeah, there it is. Two-wire connector, one bolt on the bottom. Focus. The one I took out, obviously factory. I don't know if it's original. I've only owned this car. Well, I owned it for a couple years and I gave it to my son. So I don't know if it's original or not, but it is definitely OEM. I ended up buying. Here's the part that I purchased. This came from Rock Auto, and it said actual OE part on their listing. Here's a quick side by side. New ones I was in the right. Although I cleaned up the one on the left, so it might be hard to tell. So, anyways, Looks the tip looks a hair different, but anyways, throw this in. You can see the hole in the bottom where the fastener goes. Just give you an idea what it looks like with the sensor out. Just put a little shop towel between the socket and the head of the bolt. Keeps it from falling out. Just one of those spots you really don't want to have the bolt drop and then disappear. Alright, I can feel it started. Overall, this is pretty straightforward repair as repairs go on it. That is it. In, snugged up. See the clip, the release portion goes up, so just again reach down. You got small enough hands and arms and you can see what you're doing. It sounds pretty good. It's got about 345,000 kilometers on it. Not sure what that is in miles. I'm going to rescan the car though. Clear that fault, because I obviously would have created a fault when I attempted to start it with the sensor disconnected. Now these W210s are this generation of Mercedes. The OEM connection point is in the fuse box under the hood. There is an OBD2 port under the dash, but on these particular vehicles it is only for OBD2. Anything beyond the engine module you need to plug into the factory point, and this is just using an adapter and an autel. Alright, so this is from the history of the tool. I think this car is too old for the auto ID to work, and I haven't updated it since I bought it. Well, I had the 1 year, but I did not renew it. I'd work on mostly older cars, so. Okay. And there's the message on the autel about using the Benz 38 pin socket. Actually, yeah, this specifies it here. The OBD2 port under the dash is only for engine only OBD2, and it's very limited. You'll get the the code for the crank sensor, but the engine light was not on when I started the car, I assume because it's not a current code. But I did attempt to start the car with the crank unplugged. There you go. There's our crank, the PO335. That was actually this code that was in it before I changed the sensor. Erase the code, take it for a drive, and make sure the code does not come back. The codes are gone. If it comes back, I'll post something in the video. So that's going to wrap this up. As I mentioned before, this is a pretty straightforward repair. Bosch OE specify, it says actual OE part on Rock Auto. It was 39 Canadian. So it was not difficult. It was not expensive. And like I said, I'll put something in the comment to the video if the code comes back indicating it was not the sensor. Like I said, I hate to replace a sensor just because of a code. But I already had it and didn't want to take any chances. And at that point, you know, short of checking all the wires, it was just too intermittent to try to hunt down anything else at this point. So I'll replace it because I had it and see if it comes back. And that wraps it up. Anyways, thanks for watching.